Well, hey folks, I'm out here battling the mosquitoes again so I can do another video. I kind of need to do this one outside, so didn't have much choice. I'm kind of big on finding new uses for old stuff that doesn't have much of a use anymore. You know, kind of things that clutter, that it was really cool one time maybe, or, you know, just something, packaging that came with something that you could use for something else. So, and I've got something here that probably everybody has floating around their house. They were big at one time. Your kids probably had a half a dozen of them. You may have even had some yourself. But I don't know that they're the big thing anymore because I don't see them other than maybe at yard sales and whatnot. But the old fidget spinner. I was never big into them, but when I saw them used, I thought, I got an idea for those. So let's spin the camera around, point it at the ground, and I'll show you what I come up with. You might think it's neat. Okay, so here we are. This is going to be a little tricky because I'm going to have to film part of this without being able to see where the camera is actually pointing. But before I get into that, how many of you are familiar with a bowdrill for making fires? It's a basic rub two sticks together to make fire premise. I'm sure there's a million videos on YouTube covering the topic, so I'm not going to go into great detail on the setup or anything. You can find that on another YouTube video. Excuse me. If you would like me to do that, comment below, and I will do a separate video on, the finer details of how to do it. But for now, it's more about how we're going to incorporate this into our bow drill setup. So your setup consists of a bow, spindle, hearth board or fireboard, and something you can use to catch your ember under. And we'll see how that all comes together. But the other component is a bearing block, and that is something you push down on the top of your spindle with. Typically, you're going to make your hearth board and your spindle out of softwood, pine, spruce, something like that. But you want your bearing block to be something harder, like a hardwood, or even I've done it with a rock. Just something that little tip of your spindle can kind of wedge into, and it acts as a guide and allows you to put downward pressure to your hearth board. That's where this little guy comes in. So bear with me for a minute while I get this all set up and try and figure out the camera angle, and then we'll get to it. Okay, so in the interest of saving a little bit of time, I've gone ahead and prepped my hearth board. That just involves cutting a little angled notch off the edge of the hearth board. That goes into the channel where your spindle is going to sit. And that's going to gather all of your powder, as you can see here, down into the paper where your ember is going to be created. Typically, your hearth board and your spindle are going to be made of softwood, and your bearing block you want to be something harder, like hardwood, or I've even used a rock that had a convenient notch in it, because you want all of your friction and your heat to be here and not here. That's where your fidget spinner comes in handy, because it has bearings. So it's going to greatly reduce the amount of friction you have here. It's also going to allow your spindle to travel a little faster. So it should speed the process up a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to seat our spindle into the bow, like so. That can always be a tricky process because the string wants to kick the spindle out constantly. And you may find it gets away on me a couple times as I do this. We're going to put our fidget spinner on the top and start sawing away. Now we're going to find out two things here. Can I do this without knocking the camera over? And just how good my cardio is. This can be a workout. We're getting a little bit of smoke already. All right, do we have an ember? Looks like we do. Let's see if we can make some fire. There we have fire. So, that shows how you can use that little thing that's probably laying in a junk drawer in your house somewhere to go ahead and make something like making a fire a little bit easier. If I could just see the button spin this around. Look at that. Well, I guess I can't spin that around while I'm recording, so we've got a little bit of sweat on. So, anyhow, hopefully you're looking at my face right now. And, whew, yeah, cardio is not what it should be, I guess. Anyhow, hopefully that gives you some ideas on how you can take something that you used to have a use for and you don't anymore and find a good use for it. Because you know what? Stuff like that makes you handy. Please like if you like the video, comment if you have any questions or concerns, and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more. Maybe even tap that little bell so you know every time I drop a video. Y'all take care and have a great day, weekend, week, whatever. I need to breathe. Take care.